Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. Coming up in the next hour, PM Narendra Modi holds joint press statement with Cyprus President Christodoulides. Says opportunity for a new chapter in India-Cyprus partnership as leaders discuss business, trade and bilateral ties. PM Modi accorded Grand Cross of the Order of Macarius III, the highest honor of Cyprus. PM Modi dedicates honor to friendship between the two countries. The Israel-Iran hostilities continue. US hopes for a peace deal. Indian students in Iran being moved to safer places as the conflict deepens. And world leaders including US President Francis Macron and Japan's PM arrive in Canada for the G7 summit. After concluding Cyprus visit, India's Prime Minister Modi to emplane for Canada later today. Prime Minister Modi and President Nikos Christodoulides of Cyprus attended a joint press meeting. In their joint statement addressing the media, PM Modi said that Cyprus and India share mutual respect for each other. After 2 decades, an Indian Prime Minister has visited Cyprus. This, he said, is an opportunity to write a new chapter in the India-Cyprus partnership.
अपनी साझेदारी को स्ट्रैटेजिक दिशा देने के लिए हम अगले 5 वर्षों के लिए एक ठोस रोड मैप बनाएंगे। रक्षा और सहयोग को और मजबूती देने के लिए द्विपक्षीय डिफेंस कोऑपरेशन प्रोग्राम के तहत रक्षा उद्योग पर बल दिया जाएगा। साइबर और मैरीटाइम सिक्योरिटी पर अलग से डायलॉग शुरू किया जाएगा। क्रॉस बॉर्डर टेररिज्म के विरुद्ध भारत की लड़ाई में साइप्रस के सतत समर्थन के लिए हम बहुत बहुत आभारी हैं। आतंकवाद, ड्रग्स और आर्म्स की तस्करी की रोकथाम के लिए हमारी एजेंसीज के बीच रियल टाइम इंफॉर्मेशन एक्सचेंज का मैकेनिज्म तैयार किया जाएगा। हम दोनों सहमत हैं कि हमारे आपसी व्यापार और निवेश में बहुत पोटेंशियल है।
PM Modi said that India and the European Union are committed to concluding a free trade agreement by the end of this year. Earlier this year, the India-Cyprus-Greece Business and Investment Council was launched. These initiatives will further strengthen business ties among the two countries.
Technology, innovation, health, agriculture, renewable energy, climate justice जैसे क्षेत्रों में आपसी सहयोग पर भी विस्तार से बात हुई है। साइप्रस में योग और आयुर्वेद के प्रसार को देखकर हम उत्साहित हैं। भारतीय टूरिस्ट के लिए भी साइप्रस एक पसंदीदा डेस्टिनेशन है। उनके लिए डायरेक्ट एयर कनेक्टिविटी बनाने पर जोर दिया जाएगा। हमने निश्चय किया कि मोबिलिटी एग्रीमेंट को जल्द पूरा करने के लिए काम किया जाएगा।
Prime Minister Modi also stressed on enhancing connectivity with the Mediterranean region and expressed concern on the ongoing conflicts in West Asia and Europe.
साइप्रस द्वारा सिक्योरिटी काउंसिल में भारत की स्थायी सदस्यता का समर्थन करने के लिए हम आपके आभारी हैं। पश्चिम एशिया और यूरोप में चल रहे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट को लेकर हम दोनों ने चिंता व्यक्त की है। इनका नकारात्मक प्रभाव केवल उस क्षेत्र तक सीमित नहीं है। हम दोनों मानते हैं कि यह युद्ध का युग नहीं है। संवाद से समाधान और स्थिरता की बहाली ये मानवता की पुकार है। मेडिटरेनियन क्षेत्र के साथ कनेक्टिविटी बढ़ाने पर भी हमने बात की। हम सहमत हैं कि इंडिया मिडिल ईस्ट यूरोप इकोनॉमिक कॉरिडोर से क्षेत्र में शांति और समृद्धि का मार्ग प्रशस्त होगा। राष्ट्रपति जी, मैं आपको भारत यात्रा के लिए सादर निमंत्रित करता हूं।
And Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulidis said that both nations have historic friendship. The relations between Cyprus and India are based on shared historic experience and values.
आज हमने इस बात पे चर्चा की कि हम आपस में अपने व्यावसायिक और आर्थिक सहयोग को कैसे आगे बढ़ा सकते हैं। कुछ साइप्रस के लिए भी लाभदायक होंगे जो कि हम दे सकते हैं। हमारी एक जियो स्ट्रेटेजिक लोकेशन है जिसकी वजह से हम ईयू के जो बाजार है उसके प्रवेश द्वार के रूप में काम कर सकते हैं।
हमने अपने द्विपक्षीय सहयोग को बढ़ाने के बारे में भी बात करी और कई विभिन्न मुद्दों पर सिनर्जी के बारे में, रक्षा सहयोग, संकट प्रबंधन, पर्यटन और नवाचार और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस के क्षेत्र में भी काम करना चाहते हैं और हम सहमत हुए इन सभी क्षेत्रों में एक साथ मिलकर काम करने ताकि हम विशिष्ट परिणाम दे सकें।
He invited PM Modi for an EU Council meeting that will be held in Cyprus next year. He recalled the heinous attack in Pahalgam and extended support to India's fight against terrorism.
हाल के बहुत ही कायराना जो आतंकवादी हमला हुआ है पहलगाम में, और मैं सार्वजनिक तौर पर एक बार फिर दोहराना चाहूंगा कि साइप्रस गणराज्य का पूरा समर्थन है भारत के साथ। हम भारत के साथ खड़े हैं आतंकवाद के खिलाफ उनकी लड़ाई में। आतंकवाद के हर रूप से लड़ना है। आतंकवाद को हम स्वीकार नहीं कर सकते और माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी, हम आपके साथ खड़े हैं। हम आपके अधिकारों की रक्षा करते हैं ताकि हम सुरक्षा प्रदान कर सकें आपके नागरिकों को।
Earlier, PM Modi and Cyprus President Christodoulidis held delegation-level talks covering the full range of India-Cyprus relations. The talks focused on cooperation in areas such as defense, security, trade, technology, healthcare, renewable energy and climate justice. And joining us from Nicosia and Cyprus is my colleague Shubhendu Ghosh. Shubhendu, so we are approaching the end of PM Modi's two-day visit to Cyprus, historic in every sense of the word, the first by an Indian premier in more than 2 decades. Talk to us a bit, if you will, about the significant substantive outcomes from the visit.
You're right, Ramesh. It was truly a historic visit. Just in moments, it will conclude as Prime Minister now approaches for the second leg of his tour to Canada. When we look back, we see in this short period of time that Prime Minister Narendra Modi spent in Cyprus, in Limassol and Nicosia, many achievements have been made in diplomatic front and in pushing forward the trade and investment ecosystem for both the countries, especially when the statements came in today. We see the manner in which the relations between the two countries have been truly energized in diverse sectors. Trade and investment to begin with. We see a greater emphasis in Cyprus to engage with the Indian market. There are opportunities for India to be able to expand its footprint in the European market, particularly given the presence that Cyprus has, also its own leadership in the coming year as the leader of the Council of European Union. And also defense, security are the areas in which this partnership seems to be evolving now. People-to-people connect. The very friendly relations that the two countries have had. They've had common historical linkages, civilizational links. But in the 21st century, we see this moving forward with talented Indian professionals also coming here and working So a positive ecosystem has been created by the leaders so that this engagement, the scope of it could be expanded. There is a trade of about $150 million between the two countries, which Prime Minister said the scope of it to expand is so much more. Also, technology, artificial intelligence found not just special mention, but very concrete steps in a manner in which the two countries could cooperate and enhance each other's capability. But perhaps one of the things that this visit will be remembered for would be the great symbolism. Remember, first visit of Prime Minister Modi after the Pahalgam terror attack, the Operation Sindoor. And here, the president of Cyprus, in no uncertain terms, and he said that I publicly once again condemn the menace of terrorism in all its forms and manifestations. So in that sense, we see the kind of partnership that India and Cyprus represent across the seas. And India has also, time and again, reiterated its point that it supports Cyprus's reunification in a peaceful manner. Turkey was called out for its hegemonic ways in the region very clearly. Cyprus President also said that Turkey's illegal occupation of part of Cyprus must end, and the country greatly values India's steadfast support in that manner. So we see an entire gamut of areas where the relationship seems truly energized and forward-looking now.
And very quickly, Shubhendu, if you will, talking about symbolism, the signaling and messaging behind the Prime Minister's visit to Cyprus. You spoke about Turkey. In that context, given the frosty ties that exist between Cyprus and Turkey on the one hand, and India and Turkey on the other, in light of the Operation Sindoor, how Turkey supported Pakistan right through the operation. Turkey also gave Pakistan drones to attack India with, and Turkey, as you mentioned, has turned a blind eye to terrorism emanating from Pakistan and directed against India. So this visit of the Prime Ministers would not have gone unnoticed in Ankara, isn't it?
Absolutely. And not just Ankara in Turkey, but for the rest of the world. I think India has, choosing Cyprus as the first destination of visit, a very clear message has been sent out about the values that India stands for, and also that India supports for the nations, the friendly nations that share the value system that India represents, of democracy, of respect for international laws. The countries that are on the same page with India, India stands with them in a very strong manner. So on the one hand, the Cyprus president spoke about supporting India in the context of cross-border terrorism. India also very clearly spoke about the manner in which it continues to stand with Cyprus's right to reunification. And in both cases, I think the hints were very clear about the role that Turkey is playing in the current geopolitics. The messaging is also for the rest of the world as to India is confidently standing on the foundation of its values and confidently standing with nations who share these values.
Indeed, as Shubhendu is reporting there from Nicosia, the Prime Minister is approaching the end of his two-day visit to Cyprus, and he will travel onwards to Canada for the G7 summit. Shubhendu, thank you. Appreciate it. Right, now the news, Prime Minister Modi was accorded the decoration of the Grand Cross of the Order of Macarius III. The Grand Cross of the Order of Macarius III was instituted in 1981 by the then President of Cyprus, Spyros Kyprianou. The honor reflects the enduring India-Cyprus bilateral partnership and shared commitment to work together for the common vision and for peace, progress and prosperity. Accepting the honor on behalf of 1.4 billion Indians, the Prime Minister expressed his heartfelt gratitude to the President, the government and the people of Cyprus. He dedicated the award to the long-standing warm ties between India and Cyprus, built on shared values and mutual trust.
यह सम्मान केवल मेरा नरेंद्र मोदी का सम्मान नहीं है, ये 140 करोड़ भारतवासियों का सम्मान है। उनके सामर्थ्य और आकांक्षाओं का ये सम्मान है। ये हमारे देश के सांस्कृतिक भाईचारे और वसुधैव कुटुंबकम की विचारधारा का सम्मान है। मैं ये अवार्ड भारत और साइप्रस के मैत्रीपूर्ण संबंधों को, हमारे साझा मूल्यों और हमारी पारस्परिक समझ को समर्पित करता हूं। सभी भारतीयों की ओर से मैं इस सम्मान को अत्यंत विनम्रता और कृतज्ञता से स्वीकार करता हूं।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi continues to garner global recognition for his statesmanship and soaring popularity on the world stage. DD India's Mihir Mercury brings you a roundup of the prestigious accolades the Prime Minister has received in recent months.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, perceived globally as a visionary leader of the world's largest democracy, has been conferred with Cyprus's highest honor, the Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III. This latest award is yet another feather in his cap. Over the years, Prime Minister Modi has been honored by several countries around the world for his exceptional leadership and contributions. Some of these awards include: in July last year, PM Modi officially received Russia's most prestigious civilian honor, the Order of St. Andrew the Apostle, which was bestowed upon him in 2019. The award recognized PM Modi's distinguished contribution to developing a privileged strategic partnership between Russia and India and fostering friendly ties between the two countries. In November last year, PM Modi was conferred Nigeria's Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger. This prestigious distinction made him only the second foreign dignitary to receive it, a testament to his global standing and leadership. In that very month, Guyana's President Dr. Mohammad Irfan Ali conferred upon Prime Minister Modi the highest national award of the country, the Order of Excellence, for his visionary statesmanship and for championing the rights of developing countries on the global stage. On the same day, PM Modi received Dominica's highest national award, Dominica Award of Honor, for his statesmanship, support to Dominica during the COVID-19 pandemic, and his commitment to strengthening India and Dominica ties. In December last year, Kuwait awarded PM Modi its highest national award. The Amir of Kuwait conferred upon Prime Minister Modi the Order of Mubarak Al-Kabir. The streak of global honors for Prime Minister Modi continues this year as well. Barbados conferred upon him the Honorary Order of Freedom of Barbados. The award was presented by the President of Barbados and received on the Prime Minister's behalf by Minister of State for External Affairs Pabitra Margarita. On March 12, during its National Day celebrations, Mauritius conferred its highest civilian honor, the Grand Commander of the Order of the Star and the Key of the Indian Ocean, on Prime Minister Modi. In April, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received Sri Lanka's highest honor for foreign leaders, the Sri Lanka Mitra Vibhushana Award. It was the first time an Indian leader had received this award. At the core of these accolades and his global recognition as a leader lies PM Modi's vision, one dedicated to the welfare of all humanity and to peace and dialogue. Be it conflict, climate crisis, or the threat of terrorism, PM Modi has consistently conveyed a clear message: the world must come together and work collectively towards solutions. Mihir Mercury's report for DD India.
After addressing a joint press conference, PM Modi also visited the historical center of Nicosia. The Prime Minister was accompanied by the President of Cyprus, Nikos Christodoulidis. Strengthening ties with a trusted partner, Prime Minister Modi was accorded a ceremonial reception at the Presidential Palace in Nicosia, Cyprus. He was warmly received by the President Nikos Christodoulidis. PM Modi also paid his respects to the first President of Cyprus, Archbishop Makarios III. After the ceremonial reception, PM Modi and Cyprus President Nikos Christodoulidis, both leaders discussed ways to deepen cooperation in newer areas of defense industry, connectivity, innovation, tourism and mobility, alongside traditional areas of trade and investments, counter-terrorism and culture. They called for enhancing connectivity between the two countries, which would strengthen the IMEC corridor. They noted that Cyprus is an important partner for India in the EU. India's External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar held a telephonic conversation with his UAE counterpart Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan on Monday and discussed the current situation in West Asia and the role of diplomacy. Minister Jaishankar said that he and Abdullah bin Zayed agreed to remain in touch. Minister Jaishankar also spoke with Foreign Minister of Armenia Ararat Mirzoyan. Both leaders discussed ongoing developments in the region and close cooperation. And now to updates on the Ahmedabad plane crash. A total of 80 victims of the tragic plane crash have been identified so far through DNA matching, including former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani. Of these, the bodies of 33 victims have been handed over respectfully to the relatives. The victims whose mortal remains were handed over were from Ahmedabad, Vadodara, Khera, Botad and other places. A large team of forensic experts have been working to identify bodies of those killed in one of the worst aviation disasters in India by matching DNA with samples collected from relatives. The last rites of former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, who lost his life in the tragic plane crash on June 12, will be performed on Monday. The state funeral of former Gujarat Chief Minister will be held with full state honours in Rajkot. The state government has also declared a one-day state mourning in his memory. The body of the former Chief Minister was confirmed after the DNA testing. Ahead of last rites, former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani was given a tearful farewell. His wife Anjali Rupani paid an emotional tribute as grief overwhelmed the family. Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, along with ministers Rushikesh Patel and Harsh Sanghvi, offered their final respects to the late leader. A solemn memorial ceremony was held at the sacred Jaya Shri Mahabodhi in Sri Lanka's Anuradhapura to honor the victims of the Air India flight AI 171 crash in Ahmedabad. The event featured the lighting of oil lamps and chanting conducted under the guidance of Most Venerable Palagama Hemaratna Thero. Organized as a gesture of compassion and solidarity, the ceremony reflected the deep spiritual and cultural bonds between Sri Lanka and India, in line with increasing engagements with the Buddhist Mahanayakas. Moving on to the western Indian state of Maharashtra, where 4 people died and over 50 were injured when an old narrow bridge over the river Indrayani in Pune district collapsed on Sunday. The Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis has announced that the state government will provide a financial assistance of 5 lakh rupees to the families of those who lost their lives in the bridge collapse incident. Additionally, the state government will also bear the full cost for the medical treatment of the injured. Meanwhile, the damaged section of the bridge had been removed from the river by late night while the search and rescue operations are on. Pune District Collector Jitendra Dudi has formed a multi-departmental probe team. He confirmed that all individuals have been traced and SOPs are under review.
टोटल मिला के 55 लोग 55 लोग जो हैं वो ब्रिज कोलैप्स होने की वजह से नीचे गिर गए थे और उसमें से हमने सक्सेसफुली 51 लोगों को वहां से रेस्क्यू किया। सभी की जो सिचुएशन है, उनकी अभी जो परिस्थिति है वो स्टेबल है। 38 लोगों का 38 लोगों का उपचार अभी हॉस्पिटल में चल रहा है, उनकी भी जो परिस्थिति है वो स्टेबल है। अनफॉर्चुनेटली 4 लोगों की मृत्यु हो गई है। हमने एक टीम गठित की है एडिशनल कलेक्टर की अध्यक्षता में, जिसमें इरिगेशन के, पीडब्ल्यूडी के, फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट के, पुलिस विभाग के लोग हैं।
India's Ministry of Home Affairs has issued a notification on Monday for conducting population census in 2027. The government said that the census will be conducted in 2 phases. It also shared the reference date for population census 27 in the notification. March 1 will be the reference date for all states and union territories except Ladakh and snowbound areas of Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh and Uttarakhand. October 1, 2026 is the reference date for remaining states and union territories. The census of India is conducted under the provisions of the Census Act of 1948 and the Census Rules of 1990. In some more weather updates, the India Meteorological Department issued weather alerts for the western parts of the country, warning of heavier downpours. The department has recorded heavy rains in Maharashtra's Mumbai and Pune districts. The weather department sounded an orange alert for Maharashtra, forecasting heavy showers at isolated places of Mumbai, while warning about thunderstorms in the region. Raigad district has been put under red alert, including nearby areas of the Konkan division of the state. Heavy rainfall with thunderstorm, lightning and gusty winds at a speed of 60 to 105 kilometers per hour has been issued over Assam and Meghalaya. Delhi is likely to receive some respite from heat wave as temperatures are expected to range between 35 degrees Celsius and 41 degrees Celsius during the day. The capital is on yellow alert and is likely to experience light to moderate rain accompanied with thunderstorm and lightning in the coming week. Joining me for more is my colleague Tapas Bhattacharya. Tapas, fill us in on the latest weather updates.
Right, so let me just start with the fact that the conditions are favorable for further advancement of the southwest monsoon over remaining parts of North Arabian Sea and parts of Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, some remaining parts of Vidarbha, Chhattisgarh and Odisha, and some parts of the Gangetic West Bengal, Jharkhand, remaining parts of the northwest Bay of Bengal and the sub-Himalayan West Bengal area, some parts of Bihar, and now, interestingly, it is now coming towards East Uttar Pradesh in the next 2 to 3 days. So we are expecting the monsoon to arrive in East Uttar Pradesh in the next 2 to 3 days. Monsoon is also in active phase with heavy to very heavy rainfall in places like Peninsular India, South Peninsular India, Konkan and Goa till 16th of the month. Also, the IMD has given a warning of orange to red for moderate and heavy rainfall in places and in some parts of Gujarat, Konkan, that is the coastal Maharashtra, coastal Karnataka, Kerala, and for moderate rainfall over parts of Rajasthan, South and North Haryana, Madhya Pradesh, and North Chhattisgarh, and some parts of Odisha and Bihar as well in the next 3 hours. That is the latest we're getting. For Delhi, I know where people were struggling for a lot of hot and humid weather. There was a orange alert for that also. We will not have the same kind of weather condition. In fact, we were told by the IMD that in the next 3 to 4 days there will be intermittent rainfall that will take place. There's a yellow alert also that has been issued for Delhi and NCR area, northwest part of the country. Interestingly, we were told that there is a western disturbance that is there. There is also the initial phase of monsoon that is coming in, because as I mentioned earlier, the eastern Uttar Pradesh is expected to receive in the next 2 to 3 days monsoon, and from there onwards the road to Delhi will not be that far. So that is one part of it. We believe by the end of 5 to 6 days, Delhiites, and that's unofficial. There's no official confirmation for that, but we believe in the next 1 week, Delhi will also get monsoon showers. So that's the respite that is there. The IMD has already said that in the next 3 to 4 days there will be yellow alert, followed by 2 days of green marking. And then they believe that they might just see the prolonged case of the monsoon coming in the northwest part of the country. In the next 3 days, East Uttar Pradesh is expected to receive the monsoon.
Right, we'll leave it there. Tapas, thank you. Tapas Bhattacharya reporting there from New Delhi on the latest weather updates. And still to come on DD India NewsHour. French President Emmanuel Macron warns that Greenland is not to be sold nor to be taken. Two European countries, Portugal and Spain, have been protesting against over-tourism, voicing negative impacts on their daily lives.
Can the US launch a bombing campaign against Iran? The Philippines vessel suffered structural damage. The saga of child sexual abuse is the United States China's debt trap strategy. Truth is stranger than fiction. But sometimes hard to uncover. Trust us to tell the truth, unadulterated and pure, of every story that matters to you. You read between the lines, cut the clutter, and connect the dots to get you the full picture. Watch Connecting the Dots at these times with me, only on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. A recap of the headlines. PM Narendra Modi holds joint press statement with Cyprus President Christovoulidis, says opportunity for a new chapter in the India-Cyprus partnership as leaders discuss business, trade and bilateral ties. PM Modi accorded Grand Cross of the Order of Makarios III, the highest honor of Cyprus. He dedicates honor to friendship between the two countries. Israel-Iran hostilities continue. US hopes for a peace deal. Indian students in Iran being moved to safer places as the conflict deepens. The conflict escalates in West Asia, with Israel and Iran attacking each other with missile strikes. Iranian missiles have struck Israeli cities of Tel Aviv and Haifa on Monday, destroying homes and killing several people. Meanwhile, the conflict fueled concerns among global leaders as they meet for the G7 summit in Canada. DD India's Abhishek Bose gets you this report.
The visuals you see on your screen are from a major oil refinery in Israel's port city of Haifa. Thick smoke rose from the plant after Iranian missiles hit it before dawn. Iran launched attacks on both Tel Aviv and Haifa overnight, killing several people. This happened a day after Israel attacked major oil depots and gas fields in Iran. Meanwhile, the Israel Defense Forces hit command centers linked to Iran's Quds Force. Israel says these centers are used by Iran to attack Israel through its proxies. Israel's strikes, which began Friday, have targeted Iranian nuclear and military sites, killing top Iranian commanders and nuclear scientists. Both sides have continued their attacks since then. Iran's President Masoud Pezeshkian warned that Iran will respond even more strongly if the attacks continue.
Israel knows no boundaries. They intrude wherever they want with permission from America. We will give a powerful response to any aggression they may commit.
Israel sees Iran's nuclear program as a direct threat. These attacks aim to stop Iran from making nuclear programs. But Iran says its nuclear work is peaceful and denies any nuclear weapons ambitions. Global attention has turned to West Asia at a time when world leaders are meeting for G7 summit in Canada. US President Donald Trump said that he hopes Israel and Iran can broker a deal.
Well, I hope there's going to be a deal. I think it's time for a deal, and we'll see what happens. But sometimes they have to fight it out, but we're going to see what happens. I think there's a good chance there'll be a deal.
European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said Israel has the right to defend itself, but stressed that a diplomatic solution is the best way to solve the issue in the long run.
Israel has the right to defend itself. Iran is the principal source of regional instability, and we've always been very clear Iran can never have a nuclear weapon. We have voiced our strong concerns over Iran's nuclear and ballistic missile program. A diplomatic solution remains the best way in the long run to address concerns about Iran's nuclear program.
This conflict is disrupting the global oil market and raising fears of a wider regional war, which could threaten the global economy. Abhishek Bose for DD India.
The US Embassy in Tel Aviv suffered damage after Iranian missile strikes on the city. The embassy was closed on Monday following the attack. Several residential buildings in a densely populated area of Tel Aviv were destroyed in the attack that blew out windows of hotels and other nearby homes located just a few hundred meters from the US Embassy in the city. Joining me is my colleague Akshay Dongre. Akshay, what can you tell us about the evacuation of Indian students from Iran?
Well, a press statement has been issued by the Ministry of External Affairs, Ramesh, about the efforts that are being taken by the Indian government to ensure the safety of the students who have come from different parts of the country, who have rather gone to Iran to study various, things from the universities there. And that is a section of, our diaspora that is relatively new to the country, is not much aware about, how to travel or rather safeguard themselves in these kind of situations. So they usually are, a student group usually is first priority for government whenever there is instability in a country. So first step has been taken to ensure safeguarding the interests of the Indian community there by taking the Indian students to rather safer locations in the country, away from the major cities where most of these attacks are happening, including Tehran, the capital of Iran. And later on, other steps are being introduced, including setting up of a hotline, establishing help desks, and giving out lines to the people so that they can contact the embassy, and adequate help can be provided in time to the people who may get stuck in this entire chaos that has spread across the country there. So steps are being taken. Further steps will be taken if evacuations are required. We have seen this in the past as well. Whenever evacuations are required, a proper plan is set up, and then evacuation is launched to help people come out of the country wherever there is either a war happening or other kind of difficulties. But remembering our evacuation from Ukraine as well, the situation always gets very problematic. So before it reaches to that level, the government has already started to take, or rather initiate, steps to ensure the safeguarding of the student community, followed by other communities, and whosoever requires help as far as the Indian diaspora is concerned, in both Israel as well as Iran.
And very quickly, if you will, Akshay, what has India's stand been on the Iran-Israel hostilities? What has New Delhi been saying in the past few days?
Well, Prime Minister has time and again reiterated that this is not an era of war. As far as the tension between the two countries are concerned, they both are allies of India. With both the nations, India has had very good relations, and they have bilateral strong ties with India too. So that places India in a very unique category, as opposed to countries such as US that doesn't have good contacts with, or other communications with the Iranian side, or China, for example, who may or may not have good relations with Israel. So everything is now all the eyes across the world is also on India, that what stand it takes, because geographically speaking as well, India is much closer to Iran, and in this entire conflict. So it also includes India as a region which can have, or rather which can see collateral of this entire conflict. So Indian statement or anything that Prime Minister says is being heard. Prime Minister has reiterated to go back to the diplomacy and dialogue table, and India has been a proponent of peace and has reiterated that a peaceful solution can still be found as far as this conflict is concerned. However, we are hoping for the best, but are preparing for the worst. Back to you, Ramesh.
Right, will you there, Akshay? Thank you, Akshay Dongre, reporting there from New Delhi. Right, moving on, US President Donald Trump landed in Calgary, Canada on Sunday, setting the stage for a high-stakes G7 summit in the Canadian Rockies. While the formal agenda spans global economic stability, climate and geopolitical security, much of the behind-the-scenes energy appears focused on damage control, particularly from allies hoping to persuade Trump to reverse or at least ease his hardline stance on tariffs. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, also in Calgary, confirmed that she had a good phone call with Trump ahead of the summit. Yet, in a signal of Europe's cautious optimism, she revealed that the EU was preparing contingencies in case talks with Washington, D.C. collapse. Among other early arrivals are British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, Japan's Prime Minister Ishiba Shigeru, Germany's Chancellor Friedrich Merz, French President Emmanuel Macron and Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. On the sidelines, ahead of the formal G7 meeting in Canada, Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney held a bilateral meeting with Australia's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese on Sunday. The Australian Prime Minister said that increasing the number of nuclear-powered submarines operated by Australia, Britain and the United States will make the Indo-Pacific more secure and was in the United States' interests.
There's a range of benefits that come, and indeed having Australia, the United Kingdom and the United States all having increased nuclear-powered submarines, in our case conventionally armed, is something that will make the Indo-Pacific area more secure. That is in the interests of the United States, and I will indicate that very clearly going forward.
Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney also met with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer, German Chancellor Merz and South Africa's President Cyril Ramaphosa on Sunday, discussing interests in defence and critical minerals, among other issues. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass has announced that the nightly curfew in the city will continue for a couple more days because of ongoing protests against immigration raids. The protests, which began on 6th June, have been mostly peaceful but have been marred by sporadic violence, prompting President Trump to deploy 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines to the area. Thousands of people participated in a rally and march against the raids and military crackdown. The protests are part of the No Kings series of anti-Trump demonstrations across the country. Mayor Bass expects the curfew to remain in place for a few more days to prevent incidents of vandalism and looting. Trump has directed federal authorities to ramp up deportation efforts, including in Los Angeles, despite the backlash. Though Mayor Bass has emphasized that the raids have generated significant anger and fear in the city. Two European countries, Portugal and Spain, have been protesting against over-tourism, voicing negative impacts on their daily lives. In Lisbon, protesters carried banners reading "Lisbon against over-tourism" and chanting slogans such as "Tourists go home." The demonstration was part of a broader movement coordinated by the Southern European Network Against Touristification, aiming to raise awareness about the adverse effects of unchecked tourism on local communities. Meanwhile, in Spain, protesters fired water pistols at shop windows and setting off smoke in Barcelona, while many setting off colored smoke and putting stickers saying "Neighborhood Self-Defense, Tourists Go Home" on shop windows and hotels. French President Emmanuel Macron warned that Greenland is not to be sold nor to be taken during his official visit to the autonomous Danish territory coveted by U.S. President Donald Trump. Macron visited a Danish military frigate and surveyed the impact of climate change on a Greenlandic glacier with scientists from a climate research center. Macron strongly opposed Donald Trump's idea of taking over Greenland. In a press conference alongside Denmark's Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen and Greenland's Prime Minister Jens Frederik Nielsen, Macron said the island was threatened by predatory ambition and that its situation was a wake-up call for all Europeans.
A message of respect for your sovereignty and respect for your choices. Choice of security, economic and social development, sustainable monitoring of your natural resources. A message of support for your territorial integrity, your borders. In a few words, everybody think in France, in the European Union, that Greenland is not to be sold, not to be taken.
And still to come on DD India NewsHour. Bad loans in Bangladesh's banking sector surged to 24.13% in the March 2025 quarter. And in sports, Sweden's Armand Duplantis sets pole vault world record at Stockholm Diamond League. In cricket, 2025 ICC Women's Cricket World Cup schedule is out. The tournament to kickstart on 30th September.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Hello. Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran. In business news, the wholesale price index-based inflation in India dipped to a 14-month low in May, coming in at 0.39%. As per data released by Ministry of Commerce and Industry on Monday, this wholesale inflation rate for the month of May was coming down to the lowest level since March 2024. During this period, the food inflation rate has come down from 2.55% to 1.72% on a monthly basis, and the manufacturing WPI has come down from 2.62% to 2.04%. Cooling down costs of food, fuel and primary articles were among the top contributors to the WPI-based inflation, also known as headline inflation. Earlier, retail inflation data was released showing India's retail inflation fell to 2.82% in May 2025, which is the lowest level in 6 years. Retail inflation has softened because of the continuous decrease in the prices of food items. After a period of relative volatility, India's equity benchmark indices staged sharp rebound on Monday following broad-based selling in the last two trading sessions because of the geopolitical situation in Iran and Israel and ongoing US-China trade negotiations. The Sensex traded 674.26 points higher at 81,792.86, while Nifty 50 climbed 212.4 points to 24,931. Meanwhile, Reserve Bank of India's June monetary policy rate and liquidity measures have set a constructive tone for the Indian bond market. The CRR cut has added further momentum as it enhances system liquidity, supporting spreads and keeping money market rates anchored. Bangladesh's banking sector continues to be in ailing health as new figures reveal a significant jump in defaulted loans, painting a challenging picture for the sector and the economy. Bad loans in Bangladesh's banking sector surged to 24.13% in the March 2025 quarter, raising serious concerns about credit availability and overall economic stability. A recent report from Bangladesh's central bank shows that defaulted loans across 61 scheduled banks soared to Taka 4.2 trillion, in the first quarter of 2025. This marks a sharp increase of 3.93 percentage points in non-performing loans within just 3 months. The net classified loans in Bangladesh rose to 15% by March 2025, up from 10.5% in December 2024, highlighting inadequate coverage by bank reserves. Adding to the concerns, banks are experiencing a deepening shortfall in loan loss provisions. State-owned commercial banks are facing the most pressure, with problematic loans rising to 45.79% in March 2025 from 42.83% in the previous quarter. In sports news, Sweden's Armand Duplantis soared to 6.28 meters to break the world pole vault record for the 12th time and set a new world best mark at the Stockholm Diamond League. The American-born double Olympic champion improved on his previous record by 1 centimeter on his first attempt, making the most of the perfect conditions to delight the home crowd. Just moments later, the 25-year-old once again made it look easy and soared to another world record as the stadium exploded in jubilation. Duplantis sprinted from the landing mat, tearing off his singlet to celebrate its first world record set on the Swedish soil. In cricket, the ICC Women's Cricket World Cup 2025 schedule is out. The tournament will kick-start on 30th September. India will face Sri Lanka in Bengaluru in the opening match. Defending champion Australia will face New Zealand in Indore on 1st October, while Bangladesh will take on Pakistan a day later in Colombo. The round-robin stage will run until 26th of October. Meanwhile, the semi-finals are scheduled for 29th and 30th of October before the final takes place on 2nd November. The top 4 sides from the round-robin stage will progress to the semi-finals. In table tennis, U Mumba clinched their first ever Ultimate Table Tennis League title with a dominant 8-4 win over Jaipur Patriots in the final on Sunday. Wins for Lilian Bade and Bernadette Jox gave U Mumba an early lead before Jox and Akash Pal swept the mixed doubles 3-0 to take them to the brink of victory in the 6th season of Ultimate Table Tennis. Meanwhile, teenager Abhinand PB sealed the title with a clutch game win in the 4th match. For the performances in the final, Akash and Jox were named the Indian and foreign player of the final respectively, while Jeet Chandra claimed the shot of the final. German veteran Tatiana Maria won the biggest title of her career after lifting the Queen's Club Championships title. Maria beat 8th seed Armanda Anisimova 6-3, 6-4 at the championship final. The 37-year-old mother of 2 proved to be unstoppable as she knocked out Grand Slam champions Elena Rybakina and Madison Keys en route to the decider. She also became the oldest player to win a WTA title since Serena Williams in Auckland 2020. The German now has 4 WTA titles after winning at Mallorca in 2018 on grass and back-to-back victories at the Bogota clay court event in 2022 and 2023. As we move closer towards the 11th edition of International Yoga Day, let's now take a look at this report that brings you a glimpse of how yoga reflects India's ability to inspire global harmony through knowledge, tradition and timeless values. Not only this, as a symbol of India's soft power, yoga is transcending borders and cultures, promoting peace, wellness and unity.
in 2014 में जब यूएन जनरल असेंबली में योग दिवस का प्रस्ताव आया तो रिकॉर्ड देशों ने इसे समर्थन दिया था। तब से लेकर आज तक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय योग दिवस के जरिए योग एक वैश्विक आंदोलन बन गया है।
India's ancient civilization has always stood for knowledge, wellness and harmony. From the discovery of zero to contributions in astronomy, surgery, and philosophy, India has enriched the world for centuries. And among India's greatest gifts to the world is yoga. More than physical exercise, yoga is a way of life, offering mental clarity, emotional stability, and spiritual peace. Derived from the Sanskrit root yuj, meaning to unite, yoga integrates body, mind, and spirit. The United Nations General Assembly declared June the 21st as International Day of Yoga on the 11th of December back in the year 2014 as a result of relentless efforts of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, recognizing yoga's holistic approach to health and balance in life. And this marked a global shift towards preventive healthcare rooted in India's ancient wisdom. Since its inception in 2015, International Yoga Day has grown into one of the world's largest health movements, setting historic milestones each year. IFI Day or International Yoga Day 2024 saw greater engagement with approximately 24.53 crore participants. Outreach was extended through community radio, schools, Anganwadi centers, and government departments. Social media engagement reached over 3.48 crore people, while Indian embassies and institutions connected with more than 5.45 lakh individuals globally. These milestones reaffirm yoga's role as a global bridge for wellness and unity. India is sharing yoga with the world in many ways. It has set up Ayush chairs in universities abroad and runs workshops through Indian embassies. Digital campaigns and apps like Vibreak and digital infrastructure for knowledge sharing or Diksha help people include yoga in their daily lives, especially at work and school. Yoga is also a big part of government's mental health support for students. Through the Manodarpan program, yoga is combined with counseling to help students feel better. Since 2020, yoga sessions have been shown on 12 TV channels for children from class 1st to 12th. Not only this, yoga's popularity is creating new jobs and businesses too. More people are visiting places like Rishikesh, Kashi and Kerala to learn yoga. Airports, hotels and wellness centers now offer yoga facilities across India. As a symbol of India's soft power, yoga transcends borders and cultures, promoting peace, wellness and unity. It reflects India's ability to inspire.
And after concluding a successful visit to Cyprus, PM Modi has departed for Canada to attend the G7 summit. This marks the conclusion of the first leg of his three-nation tour. Right, so we're getting to you the latest visuals of the Prime Minister's departure from Cyprus to Canada, where he'll attend the G7 summit. Remember, this was Prime Minister Modi's two-day visit to Cyprus, the first leg of his three-nation tour of Europe and North America. He is now headed to Canada for the G7 summit. If you're just tuning in, just to bring you up to speed with our coverage here on DD India, these are the latest visuals coming to you from Cyprus, where Prime Minister Modi has concluded his visit to the island nation. It was a two-day visit to Cyprus, the first by an Indian Prime Minister in 23 years. The Prime Minister is now headed for Canada, for the city in Calgary, Kananaskis, for the G7 summit. Remember, PM Modi is on a three-nation tour from 15th to the 19th of this month. He has finished his visit to Cyprus. He is now headed for the second leg of his visit to Canada for the G7 summit. And that's all for this edition of DD India NewsHour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download it. and we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Ramesh Ramachandran from all of us here in New Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.